Welcome back here on Prime Morning. It's time for us to talk entertainment and get to review some of the things that have happened this week. Now, over the weekend, we had a concert, and it was one of the biggest concerts, that usually comes around the Christmas period, even before we get into December. And so, yeah, it's major. But there were some few things that have happened, and we've seen these things happen again and again, and so we decided that we want to take a look at it holistically and share our views on it. So we're looking at effective management of stage concerts. So various concerts over the period, how stages have been able to be controlled in a way that won't have issues. So there's been back and forth between the camp of Stonebwoy, Sarkodie. There have been industry persons who have also spoken their minds about it. We're trying to ascertain, some of the things that happened on the ground as against what would happen in the future or what has happened in the past. And so we'll try as much as possible to give, our overview of it. But in the studio with me this morning, I've got over here Adam Mensah. Adam is a journalist here in this country, and he's been doing extremely well for himself. And it's a pleasure to have him here in the studio. My brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you on the show. Thank you for coming.
Charlie, don't listen. It's too.
I beg. don't look for trouble for me. There's no dollar anywhere. I don't have it. Also with me in the studio, Kofi Zera is co-founder of Ghana Jom, and he's one of the guys who disturbs a lot on Facebook. This guy will get into your face and will say all manner of things and do all of the things. He's who's friend?
Mr. Logic.
Mr. Okay, I won't go there. Bro, how are you?
I'm good.
Good to have you on the show.
Please, did you bring some of the foreign exchange?
Oh, yeah,
ever since you left, today's the first time you came back. Yeah, today's the first time I'm seeing you.
That's true.
So please just do the needful.
I will. We're also going to be joined on Zoom by Kofi Mogul. Kofi is an event organizer and promoter in Canada. He's one of the guys you want to look out for if you're having a show in Canada, or if you're an artist you want to go to Canada. He's the man, he's the plug, he's the man that you want to talk to. And over the years, he's done some very good shows in Canada, and he's joining us also on Zoom. DJ Atomics is also a DJ and event promoter in the USA. He's also joining us this morning all the way from the United States of America and I think South Carolina. If I'm not mistaken. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Good morning. Please unmute your microphones so we can hear you.
Good morning.
Okay, that I assume that is Kofi.
This is Atomics.
Atomics, okay. Kofi, can I hear you? Kofi, just unmute your microphone and then speak to us.
Morning.
Great.
There we go.
All right, so I can hear both of you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, let's get into it. So, I'll start from Inks to you. There have been issues about how stages are managed over the period. A typical example where we had the VGM is in a year where things were not properly done, I'll put it that way, and then we ended up seeing Shatta Wale on stage. It could have been prevented if a handler, who was responsible for the stage had done something about it. I'm sure we wouldn't get to the gun thing and all of that. That was major, but there have been other shows that we've seen. You go to a lot of shows. I'm sure we've seen artists who are not supposed to even be on stage, climbing the stage. We've seen persons, cameramen who are following artists who do not have to be on the stage, all getting on the stage. What's your overview of the situation? Is it bad? Is it okay? Or there's something that we have to stop?
Basically, this whole who is supposed to be on stage and all that, there's always prior information that is given. They communicate to that, if you are coming, who are you coming with? Mostly when they are doing the award shows, they have a certain area.
Yeah.
Nominee and their guests.
Yeah.
Nominee and their guests. But when an artist is called on that they've won an award and they are climbing on stage, they are just supposed to go with their guests. But you see someone from the far back running as if they are the one who are going to give the speech or they are the ones going to take the award. They want to go and show support. Quote unquote.
And you're having about 5, 6 people.
No. You don't have 5, 6. You have a crowd. You have a stadium following the person to go and take the award. That is where the problem comes. And when security is trying to prevent them, they're like, hey, we are with him.
Yeah. And
sometimes even the person who has won the award will also be telling them that, they are my people. Like, they need to come on. There's always communication. The whole thing, I'm not going to blame anyone. I'll blame all of us.
Okay.
Because
How do you blame all of us for?
All of us, because if the artist doesn't follow the instruction, right, such a problem will not happen. Like if you know you are going for an award, you just go with your guests.
But it's the event organizer's responsibility to also
and the next thing is
no matter how many
with
people
the
are
event
following, they don't get
organizer
on
to the
stage.
other problem that comes along with it is the familiarity. Because I know you, oh, I know he's with this person, so let me, forgetting that there needs to be an orderly manner for things to happen.
Yeah.
So the familiarity, and you don't want to disrespect the person. That is the biggest.
But this is the job. That we shouldn't have to use.
Are you forgetting we're in
disrespect?
Ghana? Are you forgetting
yes,
we're in
but
Ghana?
Kofi, Zeda, we can't always say that we have to.
Are you forgetting we're in Ghana?
But it can't always be we're in Ghana.
Are you forgetting we're in Ghana?
I understand where you're coming from.
That is
in the
where,
next 10 years, 15 years, we'll still be saying
that is where the person
it
will
is
get
Ghana.
angry. The person will get angry and will just stand up and just leave.
But who cares?
You
Elsewhere, they don't say it is Ghana or it is not supposed. And I'll say this on the Sarkodie tour, and I'll use that as an example because it's the latest thing that I've done. There are times, even me, the host on the stage, I want to engage the crowd, and I'll say somebody should join me on stage, and the military, the security people will say no. Until the organizer of the event says, okay, allow that person to go on stage. I had several of those things happening because I was dragging people out with me and all of that. They could have also said that we're in Ghana or we're in the US, so you should let me happen.
The jurisdiction that we are in, the kind of people that we deal with, we are quote unquote mad people, all of us. I won't mention A or B. We are all inclusive, because if we are part of the whole industry, we are all making all these problems happen and all that. We are talking about stage management and all these issues. Oh, but you know he's with him. Oh, you know he's his money. Oh, you know he's his publicist. You know he's a road manager. Oh, you know he's a stylist. So they all want to be on the stage. So they all follow along. Oh, please, you're coming with only two people. They are like, oh, an extra person, moral support. This is where all the problems come from. If you don't allow them to, they're like, if you don't allow my person, then I'm
That's another problem. Okay, I'll come to you, Adam. Let me take an event organizer point of view, and then I'll switch to Adam. Kofi, over the years, you've done events in Canada. How do you prep the artist and then your team in terms of who goes on stage and who doesn't?
For me, like we used to have similar problems here a few years back. But what I usually do is I hire a stage manager. So even me personally, like you rarely catch me on the stage. I'm not even there for you to even come and, ask any questions, because like he was saying, there's that familiarity, right? And people will always, especially with the Ghanaians, they will take it very offensive. Like you're trying to disrespect them by not allowing them to have their so and so on stage, right? So usually for me, like I will have, like I have a friend Hashim in the States. So I'll always hire somebody that nobody knows. And that's the person that is sort of managing my stage for me. So they sort of control who and who gets to be on stage, at what particular time. Because like I said earlier on, we used to have similar issues. And it used to cause so much, delays, number one, and unnecessary, issues on stage. But another issue though too is sometimes I've noticed like when it comes to Ghanaian events, like there is too many people on, and I think that's out of a lack of so many events. Like there's lack of events that happen. So the moment that like you're doing a show, like for instance, when I was doing the Sarkodie, when I was trying to do the Sarkodie show, I didn't really put any opening acts on because I'm being very selective as to who and who is going to be on the stage. Because once upon a time, if you're going to be doing an event, you might even hire, let's say, 3 or 4 artists, and the next thing you know, you have about 10 or 20 other artists trying to contact you a few days before the event. And I think that's what happened over the weekend, where I think some artists that were not even billed automatically ended up being on the show. And if you don't put them on the show, they take offense to it, right? So I think, like with me, I'm very strict now in terms of who I select to be on which event. And then also I have my stage manager who is given a list of who and who is supposed to be on stage, who has their pass. If they don't have a pass, don't let them on stage. That's just how I control it nowadays. And it's been very effective, right, for me, right? So that's how personally, like, I do it. But like, I know I was watching that show over the weekend, and you've seen so many artists that I don't think were even built, because I seen the flyer prior to the show that ended up performing that night, which will now cause from maybe having 50 people backstage to now having 150 people, because let's say if I bring you to perform, don't bring another artist to come and perform without my prior notice. Right? And then again, it delays the show, it causes all these unnecessary tension, and then you the event organizer ends up sort of having to take the heat or having to do the damage control, right? And security is very, very important. Like, that's one thing I feel like over here we don't play around with. Is I know in Ontario, where I live, there's a law when you're having an event. I think for every 50 or 60 people or that are gonna be there, you need one security person, right? So based on the capacity that is there, you need to have X amount of security, and those security have to be placed in specific areas to make sure that things are being controlled in a specific way. Now, I don't know in Ghana, maybe an event of that magnitude, how much security that they had and where they were placed in terms of those events.
Okay,
right?
A quick one. I wanted to find out in your case, in terms of you being able to control the whole security aspect of the event, is it the system that is helping you do that, or it's just you who doesn't want to compromise? Because if it's a system is telling you that you need X amount of security at a certain place, and the security knows that until you say somebody should go on the stage, the person is not going, it's different. And you also saying that me, as a person, I will not compromise anybody going on the stage. Which of these two play the major role when it comes to that?
I think it's both of them, because I mean the government is not going to come to your event to come and double check how much security that you have. But here, over here, for instance, like most of the venues, like if I book a venue from 8 to 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock at 3 o'clock, that's it, right? So you have to put certain measures in place to ensure that you're moving according to the time that you're supposed to be going, because the moment it hits 3 o'clock, the venue is going to charge you almost $500 for every 30 minutes, right? So you hire the security to make sure that everything that you're doing is going on time, because then it ends up becoming a costly factor after that point. So if you're supposed to be on stage, I remember when I played Sarkodie back in 2016, there were people that were supposed to perform first. They didn't want to perform. They didn't end up performing, because I'm not going to prolong my show because you feel like you want to perform at a specific time. The moment you miss your slot, the security will tell you can't come backstage anymore. My stage manager will tell you missed your turn, right? So even though the government rules is there to ensure, the government is only doing it because of the fire safety, right? In case there's anything that erupts, that at least they know that one security person is able to sort of manage or control up to 50 people. And then some places as well, some events, we even have police there. So you're gonna have two police securities at the front or somewhere on the premises in case things sort of go out of hand. And in some venues that you're booking, it is a requirement. The venue is gonna tell you that, hey, we need X amount of people. Some venues provide it, some venues don't, where you, the event organizer, has to hire a team of security guards and you need to verify it before even the event happens. So let's say the doors, so it's both sides. It's for your own safety, but the government also is enforcing certain things to make sure that nothing goes beyond what is supposed to happen.
All right, great. Atomics, I'll come back to you, but let me find out. You're a journalist. Is it, per what he's saying, is it that we have luxury of time? We don't have stop limits here in this country. You're not paying any extra if you decide to even end the show at 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning. So you start a show from around 10 p.m. and then you have the luxury of time to end around 8 a.m. So you don't even care about who disrupted the show. Elsewhere, every 30 minutes after your time, you're paying for it.
I think it's also as a result of, that bit plays a role, because most of the auditoriums are normally given in days.
Yeah.
So it's in days, so you are not in a hurry. I think I will blame particularly on production. At times they create some of these challenges. You need to ensure that the protocols set for the stage are followed through. Last year I was at Afrochella with my artists, and aside you having, access close to the backstage, before you get onto the stage, there's another protocol you have to, break. Huge security presence. And if the coordinator, who they know, the security know, doesn't allow or doesn't, give that green light that he should go, they will not allow you. You understand? They have to ensure that you have a certain function before they allow you on stage. So the producers need to ensure that there is high observance of protocol around the stage. And one of the challenges too, I realize, is that some of the shows, most of the producers do not follow through the call time.
Okay.
So what happens is that because they are not going by the call time, that KMG is to perform at 7:05. Kofi is to perform at this time. Because they do not follow, at times it eats into the time of every artist. So the whole call time is thrown out of gear. Now, the people have a feeling, especially when the show starts very early, the artists have a feeling the crowd is getting tired.
Yeah.
So if each one of them doesn't look sharp to perform, they are going to have a problem with the audience. Then they try rushing with their management. And one of the reasons which also plays into this is some of the shows do not have good waiting areas for artists. So, if the waiting area is comfortable, and there was a concert with Empress Gifting's concert, Resurrection Effect, you were there.
Yeah.
The waiting area, nice waiting area with air conditioning, buffet, and luxury. And when the artists and the team are there, you have that comfort. A critical example, the Tidal.
Tidal Reef.
It didn't have such setting where the artists will have some comfort backstage.
So it was one space that everybody is there,
so
every artist is there.
If that is the situation there, and the artists have come, their call times are not adhered to, everybody will want to perform and go. So when it happens like that, they start piling pressure on the organizers. That Charlie, by the next day, if you don't do, we go. We have a program tomorrow. I have to go here. Then, if you are not careful, everything will be
and then the rush
out of
starts.
gear. Then everybody start rushing. So if it gets to that point, it becomes the survival of the fittest. So the ones whose management are strong and fast to go and set up, if you are not careful, your stage will be messed up.
Is that a typical case at Tidal Reef? Was that what happened?
Yes.
So people felt that they were running late.
It's not about they were running late.
Sarkodie, a quick one.
Yeah.
R2Bs, after Stonebwoy was to be R2Bs. And Sarkodie,
that was the original plan.
Yes, and Sarkodie and his team did
after Stonebwoy.
Because they had been there early.
That is Sarkodie and the team.
Yes. So when Mensah got on stage, Minor was there. And R2B's manager too was there. So Mensah said he told him, "Tell no be you they go, it be we they go." Then they do before he got on to Chief Stars that they should be fast. Because R2B's DJ knew they were the next. But there's a time DJ Mensah has also come that we they go before you, make no setup, make no. Then the MC of the program announced that the next performer is from site 15. TMA is in the building. That is R2B's. Then quickly, Sarkodie's MC took over. Hype Man took over, and they performed.
That was a disaster.
So the show that they did from the get-go, the announcement or the information that they put out, that the show was starting from 12 noon and will end at 12 a.m.
Yeah.
We don't follow time in Ghana here. Like, we should just accept it. You said you are starting at 12 noon, you close at 12 a.m. So if you are going to close at 12 a.m. and you have over 30 artists build that, what time will you start your performances? By 6.
Yeah.
Because you know for sure, some of them want to perform 45 minutes, some want to perform longer.
Yeah.
So you didn't start on time. I don't know if I should say you lack experience, so you don't know how to manage stage. Fair enough. Now you start your performances and you've given this thing whereby if you give an artist a call time and the artist don't come on time, you start blaming them and they didn't follow the contract and all that. But here's the case, all the artists you built, they came on time. and they are literally waiting. Some were waiting as long as since 10 p.m.
And they went to miss Sarkodie.
And the worst of is we're talking about the backstage, the backstage area. You see those barricades that.
The short one.
Would you be excited? How would you feel when you see Payday and Mugi sitting on the barricade?
Come on now.
How would you feel when you see Sarkodie standing under a coconut tree,
waiting to perform?
Waiting to perform. How would you feel if Kim Promise, as an artist, as an A-list artist, instead of him having a sitting area to sit, like a waiting area to sit, is sitting in his car? Like
it's crazy.
No, like this is what's happening. Because if you look at the space that was provided, bro, I'm not saying the artists are flexing or something, but I don't think an artist will feel okay, or a road manager of an artist will come and see a sitting area that there's no lighting, the seats, you have those backup dancers and all that sitting on it. Are you going to sack the artists, those backup dancers, for them to tell them your artist is coming? And I didn't see any water, I don't see any AC, nothing, and there's no security around there, and the place is so dark that if you leave the artist there alone and something happens, yo, it's just your show, it's just your one show. These are entertainers. They are doing something for the whole nation. Like, yo, the entertainers, without them we'll be bored. So their security and all, but so many things. You say you start from 12 and you end at 12 a.m. You didn't. Your whole production, we are coming, you don't have a running order. It's like who comes first, then who will just come. What's you? I beg, make a. I think even Lamem. Lamem, man. The DJ killed. Yes. The DJ killed Godzilla. I heard. I was like, yo, they are coming. The next thing was like, went back.
Let me get to DJ Atomics. If you can hear me. So, in your case, as a DJ, what would you have done in a scenario like that? You know, that you have your artist coming on stage, another DJ comes off and says that, you're not supposed to play, get off the stage and all of that.
I believe transition is a very key important when it comes to, putting on a show. I did Sarkodie too here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I had other DJs. I have Mensa here. I myself was on the bill myself. I've done other shows besides, SAC, not just African artists, but American artists as well. But I believe that transition is the key in letting people understand that we are not here to joke around. Putting certain things in place to make sure the show is successful. Because at the end of the day, it falls back on the production itself, like everybody's been saying on throughout the show. You understand? So communication from the beginning, making sure that everything is in place, whereby the artists have a place to go, relax, refresh himself, understand that there's an audience outside to see them, understand that the DJ has the set ready. Let's talk to the DJ. Is the mic ready? Is the mic ready for the artist? Is water ready for the artist? Do we have certain things for the artist to get ready? We understand security is ready in place for even if you don't have a room for the artist to perform. If the artist has to wait in his car or her car to mount on stage, making sure that they have the right things, the DJ mounts on, instead of going on stage to drive the DJ that is in place currently playing, and says that, it's my turn, it's our turn. I feel like at the end of the day, there needs to be some kind of understanding, some kind of, transition going there. Hey, instead of somebody, when I saw the video, and then Mensa is my guy, I love him to death and all that, but I felt like he was wrong instead of going on stage and saying that, hey, it's our time to play. I feel like, and I also feel like production was wrong at that point, instead of saying that, hey, we're going to send somebody to notify, Stonebwoy and his crew that, hey, you have exceeded your time. So therefore, we got another people coming in, so that will be a smooth transition. Instead of this person saying, this DJ saying that, and that person saying this, then there's a crash coming on the stage. Everybody, you got thousands of people looking, everybody pulling up their cameras. And then this goes, and it doesn't look for the industry, because you have professional artists on the stage you know, doing all these kind of things, and it doesn't look good.
Kofi, let me find out.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you, bro.
Can I chip in?
Yeah, please do.
Please. So, this thing
Can you
whereby.
guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you in a bit. Zara wants to add something quick. Okay, go ahead.
Please, let's try and check this thing. This thing whereby some people are saying Stonebwoy exceeded his time. Like, everybody should calm down. He was given a time limit to perform.
And the time limit was what?
Mostly
45.
minutes. That thing whereby someone saying he exceeded his time. How did he exceed his time? It is because there were other people who were supposed to perform, and they were trying to cut him like
from the 45 down.
Yeah, because
there were other people. It's not as if he's exceeded his time.
When he was on stage,
that is when they were giving the information.
That's where the producer
like,
told
the
him
information is coming.
to tell Stonebwoy.
How would you feel
when the artist was performing?
Yeah, so he told him, nah,
I hope you are getting
I can't tell him to.
You can't tell the person when before the person comes on stage, oh, Bossu, there are a lot of people behind.
We are doing this.
So can we cut the performance short? But not when, because he's done a list.
He's in the mood.
That was midway into the performance.
Yeah.
So maybe, so they wanted to do the 45 minutes to what? 20 minutes?
No, it's not that. It's like
at a point we felt like we are done, so just leave the stage for us.
It's like, boss, people day back, so it's chill. But you can't do that when the.
So that was communicated to the manager.
Yes.
And the manager said you will not be able to tell Stonebwoy
where he is at the moment. Yeah.
Because that doesn't even make sense. You go close to him and say, the thing they say we forgot time short. I mean, how?
And
so it's not like
one of the surprise acts was at backstage, and he couldn't.
There was a surprise act who couldn't perform.
It was announced. It was part of the lineup that mostly they do it. And this year, the surprise act, there are people who saw him there, but he couldn't.
You know the person?
I know the person.
Which artist is this? It's a foreign artist?
No, it's a Ghanaian.
Ghanaian artist?
Mostly they are Ghanaian.
Okay, so who was the surprise artist?
I'll tell you.
No, this one, it's okay to say it.
It was a surprise, so if the surprise didn't happen,
it's okay to say it.
No, you can't say it.
A Ghanaian surprise.
It doesn't matter.
We had almost everybody that is a surprise on that stage.
It's free publicity.
From Stonebwoy to Sarkodie to whoever.
The publicity.
Shatawale wasn't there. So it could have been Shatawale.
The day was for the surprise act. It didn't happen, so we leave it at that.
All right. Kofi, let me find out this one. So, have you had any situation where you've had a foreign artist, and I'm talking about maybe not a Ghanaian artist, maybe a Nigerian or an R&B artist in the US or whatever it is, you know, come for a show and say, I want this stage to be like this, I want the backstage to be like this. Do they come with those demands? And I'm looking at it from the perspective of what just happened. The fact that the artists didn't even have a place where they can even sit and wait. In your case, how does that happen in terms of your backstage?
So usually there are artists that do have certain demands, and that also now depends on the venue. So I remember the time when we played Mr. Easy, you know, he wanted certain things, like especially like production was like from like confetti stand and some things that they wanted. And based on those things, once you know ahead of time, you would know the type of venue that you want to use, right? Because sometimes it's a lot easier for you to sort of book a venue that has that already set up there than to go and get a venue and then have to sort of transform it to sort of do those things. So, I mean, like, there are sometimes when you, like, with a lot of the non-Ghanaian artists, like, even from the moment you get into the contract from their writer, you know well ahead of time before the show what it is that they're requesting, right? And you sort of deal with the whole production with the artist manager or somebody that they have. So by the time that you get to the day of the event, everything is already sort of set in stone, right? So, like, I know with him, there was, his manager couldn't make it, but there was another person who ended up coming in about, I think, 2 or 3 days in advance. We went through the venue. We, you know, went through all the checklists, whatever little last minute details. So we weren't rushing the day of the event, right? So everything was already sort of pre-set up, pre-ordered. And this way we're not running into sort of any confusion. And again, with me, a lot of the shows that I do in recent years, I don't do a lot of opening acts because this situation is always going to happen. So now even if you're booking like a lot of Nigerian artists or even non-Nigerian artists, they are very selective as to how many opening acts that you have. Some of them don't even want any opening acts. Like they will bring their own opening acts.
Okay.
Because again, the moment that maybe you book one person from the city, another artist from the city is gonna contact you and sort of be like, oh, but you have this person on the show, so I want to be on the show as well. Then you go from having 2 or 3 artists to now having about 15 artists, right? Again, that affects your show, because to me personally, I feel like you coming on stage and doing one song as an opening act or as a co-performer doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, I can't have everyone do 30-minute set, right? So it's really where I'm very selective now, and it always gets me into trouble with the artists in the city. But it has to go that way, because over here, what ends up happening is people end up showing up to the event late. So the more opening acts you have on the bill, the later people want to arrive, because they really want to see the main act, right? So like again, if you see my flyer with Sarkodie, I didn't have no opening act on the flyer, because the moment I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artists on it, if I want people to be there at 11, they're gonna show up at 12:30 or 1, because they're already pre-calculating that by that time, all the opening acts or all the other artists won't be there, will already have been finished.
Yeah.
Right now, that also now pushes my event late, because now if Sarkodie comes there at 12 o'clock and the place is half empty because everybody's waiting for the opening act, then again, I have to now push my show back.
Wow.
Right? So, yes. So there's a lot of things that, especially in recent years, based on my experience with how certain things are, like I've sort of eliminated from. People don't like it, but again, as an event organizer, we have to understand that this is our business, right? So you can't please everybody when it comes to your business.
Yeah.
Some people will like it, some people will not like it, and we have to be very firm on it, because like look at this situation here with Tidal Rave. Yes, the artists, people always forgive the artists, but it's gonna be a dent on the producers. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The crowd is gonna look at it like, oh, production didn't do things well. Now, if you have sponsors now, it also adds a stain to your brand. So, we have to be very firm in terms of that. Listen, it's not every show that everybody can perform. It is what it is.
Absolutely.
You know what? I can't put you on this show, but maybe next time, right? And you have to be firm on it. But if you try to please everybody and things go wrong, I mean, the artist will always get another show. But you, the producer now, is stuck having to fix the whole issue you're talking about. Imagine if this thing had erupted where, Stonebwoy's fans and Sarkodie's fans decided to get into a fight at the venue. You're lucky that things didn't really get that crazy, but it could have gotten worse, right? So, sometimes trying to make everybody happy is not the way to go. Like you have to make sure that you cut down. I think personally they have too many artists on that bit.
Great. Now let me find. You guys were there. Were they underground? I don't want to call them underground.
Yeah,
but at this point, we have to force calling them underground artists.
What is underground? It's not a cemetery.
Were they up and coming artists?
Yeah,
plenty.
What were they doing?
Some of the
It's a platform to shine.
Some of the advertised up and coming artists didn't also get time to perform.
Nanka.
We are worried about big ones.
A big one perform.
Plenty.
What for? What would they do to do?
I think maybe
To
they
keep
do
the
not
crowd on.
consider
What crowd?
They do not consider the people, like they do not consider the number of artists as against their time. So if it happens like that, you end up, getting an overflow, because if every artist link up and coming link up, oh, okay, come on, and you don't check the time you have and look at how, because the program started at 11 a.m. right till the next day.
And they were up and coming artists
Who couldn't even perform from 11 a.m.
from 11 a.m. to that time.
Yeah.
So how many of them? 100?
No, the thing is that they do intermittently. There is like a warm up, like a party.
Okay,
with
break
hype
DJ
people.
comes on with a hype man and
You
all that.
understand? And at times, some of them too take long, so it affects others. And there was a time after Ifyo, it took like 1 hour for the next act to come. The next main act.
2023.
The whole thing, the planning was No, bad is even a nice. It was in shambles. It was a disaster.
What do you say about
the
nice?
It's a disaster.
I think that is one thing they need to improve going forward because, I mean, in their subsequent editions, we criticize their stage lighting and other things. This time around, they prove
International standards.
The stage was super, I mean, very, very humongous. Then if you look at the screens on the side, the VIP settings, I mean, it was amazing.
The flames and all that.
Yeah. And you
Charlie,
put
the
up
back
was nice.
But this time around, and security, they did really well with security,
which is very
amazing.
important.
The IGP himself was there.
They tried it.
Yeah.
And it's not tried. Perfect.
Wow.
The IGP himself was there wearing mufti, some t-shirts.
He was in a Lacoste.
jeans.
I put a post out that if you are doing or something and you come fast and you...
Atomics, let me come to you. DJ Atomics. Moving forward, what would you say, that event organizers should pay attention to? The familiarity and all of those things seem to be issue right now. In your case, how do you look at it from what you said?
I feel like organizers need to pay attention to the artist demands first, and how many times, let's say, the time frame, if they have to put up some sort of clock or I was at Drake's concert, and the crazy part about Drake's concert is there was an hour interval that nobody was playing, but they had a time for that hour interval for Drake to mount on stage. So I feel like if they have some kind of time, for artists to perform, instead of saying that, hey, I'm just gonna come and do my song and head out. It doesn't matter how many songs that I'm going to play. If you are given a certain 15 minutes, 30 minutes to come, you do your 4 songs or you do your 5 songs and you're off stage. But sometimes artists get carried away. They want to do all their set and it doesn't go that way. But if they can have some kind of clock, a ticking clock saying that, hey, you know what? You got 5 minutes left on your performance.
Yeah.
After that, you got 4. You have 4 songs to perform tonight. After that 4 songs, that's it. It doesn't matter how it goes or whatever it is, how the crowd is vibing to your sound. But if you go according to that time frame, we all said it will eliminate a lot of things.
Awesome.
KMJ, can I give you something?
Yeah.
Can I give you something?
Yeah.
The main artists were 30 plus the surprise actors.
So 31.
31. They said Tidal Rave album artists, there were 5.
They had an album artist.
Hold on. The DJ set, there were 12.
12 DJs.
12 DJs who were coming to.
These were not artist DJs.
So.
No, they are
DJs who
were
warm up in between time.
And even they had a DJ, 12 DJ competition.
They had a DJ competition
in between 12. The MCs 10. That's group 3.
So that's the total package.
Yeah. So
okay, no, let's be real. Is it that they didn't manage it well?
They didn't plan.
Or it was just that the number was too much? Because
No,
somebody can have this number, all this experience,
they can
and still manage the
especially
time.
if you have the time, 11 a.m.
Oh, but it started 12. If you want to really go according to this, you can finish by 12 a.m.
Yes. So
my suggestion is to Tidal Rave for the subsequent edition is that they should do 2 days. Tidal Rave, they can do
if they want to maintain
they can do it.
This
they can.
Yes, if they want these numbers, they can break them into 2. So that the first day, the first session, we have this number of artists, DJs, everybody coming. Then the next day, I mean, if you look at how they have been able to reach out to people of the traditional media,
because it was well attended.
Of course.
Only this
year they had a lot of numbers.
Only this year they came to the traditional space. I mean, they should be able to hold 2-day show. Tidal Rave. I mean, it's been there for more than a decade.
They have sponsors.
You understand? They have.
What is that?
So
I want to throw that challenge to them.
Yeah.
That in their subsequent edition, they should break the show into 2 days so that they can have all of these experiences they want to give up. Because it's like they have a lot on their plate and they are not able.
Yes, and for me, I feel that
Afrochella started.
Oh no, but and with all that I've listed, I didn't even talk about. They had this runway. They had this
fashion.
They have so many things within the space of just 12 hours.
So for me, I think that Ghanaian artists have been very charitable to this organization, to the event organizers.
Oh.
No,
Yeah,
let's
because
be
some
honest
of them,
with them.
they will not.
If for me alone, all the artists should have come together and bashed them.
But I see,
Like,
I think
no,
they are
should
also
have
doing
come together as a
something good.
group.
It's one
You
of the
see-
shows.
you see-
they mostly do 100% Ghanaian artists.
And
It's
I
like-
love it.
It's like,
but you see, you can't tell me that you put a show like this together and have the likes of Sarkodie, R2Bs, Stonebwoy, and all these guys hanging at the backstage as if
can I tell you
they've
something?
been sacked from their mom's house.
Can I tell you something?
No, it's unacceptable.
This is the
They
only
need to-
show, This is the only show that they can book R2Bs every year.
Yeah.
Like,
And this is the only major show I know R2Bs have played the whole year.
see, they RTBs.
the way they get the
you
artists,
can't
Charlie.
RTBs. You can't book them like that too. But this is a show. If they want RTBs,
No, it's wrong. It's totally unacceptable. And I think that
see,
Ghanaian
if you-
artists
if you
have
saw-
really tried for this
If
organization.
you saw last
if you
year's
ask me.
stage, I mean, this year's stage was better in terms of the people who were on stage. Last year, it was like half of the stage was gone to people like
last year where they did a cocoa beat.
It was last year was crazy. It was, but this year, last year during performance is like the whole sound went like Obia could.
Last year, the last performer, Black Sheep, couldn't perform.
In 2023.
Yeah, this year it was. That's why for this year, I see it as a smooth.
Yeah.
Because of.
But look at how this is done to the show. This
You
whole
understand?
conversation.
Yeah, because look at their
has-
stage
has-
setup.
has messed up
Very
the show.
stupendous. Now the VIP setting, the way they and the whole ambience around it.
My bro, I'm saying you cannot do all this VIP nice thing and disrespect Ghanaian artists. That's what I'm saying.
To the extent that you
So
even had.
they have to apologize to Ghanaian artists.
Oh,
And they need to
apologize
show that too in their subsequent one.
Anyway, we have to end our conversation over here.
I want
Then-
to say a quick one.
Be quick for me.
Happy birthday to Mr. George Ansere. He's the regional director, Tema regional
Ghana
director
Tourism
of
Authority.
Ghana
Right.
Tourism Authority. So he's coming from the staff and people, Kofi Atakakra. So Mr. George Ansere,
We wish you well.
Happy birthday, GTA, Tema region.
Kofi Mogo, very thank you to you for joining us this morning. I appreciate you. And DJ Atomics, thank you so much for making time for us this morning here on the show. I'm going to be calling on you guys again so we can together make this industry a better one. And of course, I'd like to say a big thank you to Sarah and a big thank you to my brother Eden for coming through as well. And you guys should continue to do what you do best.